I'm Hamid Elaissami. I'm the launch lead for Europe. I'm a part of a team that does market research, makes recommendations for new market expansion, and then once we decide which cities we go to, one of us goes and starts to build the market. And I work for Europe, and Europe is a social enterprise that outsources talent from underserved communities for about 300 companies nationally. Companies like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Google, Facebook, top-notch companies around the country. We've been around for 20 years, and we learn a lot. But if you don't take anything from today's conversation, nothing, this is what I want you to remember. Talent is equally distributed, and opportunity is not. So everybody has the potential to really be good and do an amazing job and to work with a great company, but they don't have access to opportunities. We see this firsthand in all the cities. We work in 16 states in 26 locations. And this is the theme. And employers, it's not that they don't want to look at talent. They just don't know how to look at talent. Technology is moving very fast. They need to recruit very quickly. They have projects. They rely on old ways to recruit, colleges, coaching. And so in Charlotte, for example, it's almost 50,000 opportunities in Charlotte alone as a city. And when you think about the growth of the city, it would make sense to invest in that opportunity youth as the next pool of talent, right? But please remember that. So there is a divide between talent and jobs. I think you've heard probably about this ad nauseum for the past maybe 5-6 years, but it's very tricky. But when you think about what we mean by middle skills, what do we mean by middle skills? What are middle skills? Official definition. $12 million of them by 2024. And I think that's an underestimation, because in cybersecurity alone, the last numbers that we saw was 750,000 open jobs in the United States alone. And 25% of them have a degree attached to the rec. But when you talk to the managers, it doesn't require a degree. How did we learn this? We've been around for 20 years. We work across industries, across companies, from the largest actually employers in the United States to some startups. And we've seen this firsthand because we have our students that we train work for these companies. And they have these jobs. And a lot of these jobs, when we saw the rec for this actual job, it had a degree in it. But because of the relationship we built with the employers, we get to have more conversations. And our students go on a 6-month internship to show their potential and talent, and the conversation becomes very different. So all of a sudden, you look at the whole person, what can they do? Do they have the potential? Are they coachable? How do they communicate? Can they learn quickly? And that degree just gets waved away after 6 months. So they move into a full-time position. And some of these jobs now, they still require degrees around the country. And we want to change that. It is a broken talent marketplace. And given that we have no access to extra resources, we need to really focus on resources that are visible to us, that are in our backyards, right? And this should not be the case. 12 million unemployed people and 6 million job openings. I mean, we can go into the details, whether it's not, it's a lot, or maybe not all jobs are the same. Yes, but the idea is we don't have full employment. We have 3% or something unemployment right now. You literally go one layer down, and the story is very, very different. Inefficiencies. Have you ever seen anything like this in the marketplace? Like reports that say, hey, we're biased towards something, over-reliance on degrees, imperfect response to chaotic signals, that's my favorite. You have a new language, you want to hire people for the language. I have seen this actually, because I was leading our federal efforts to place interns in the federal government. And I would see job positions with a new language that literally started a year ago. And the job would say 5 years experience in this language. And you can't find that person anywhere in the world. But things like that happen all the time. Valuation of cognitive skills. Who have ever made a bad hire? Please all raise your hands, please. Who thinks 1 hour with the candidates and a 2-page resume is enough? We focus a lot on what we did before. We focus a lot on how we know. We focus a lot on learning from industry, from each other. But we don't focus on the human, on the whole person in general, what they can provide. And if you think about the biggest and the best companies in the world now, they're really thinking about talent for the next 10, 15 years. There is a lot of automation going on. A lot of people are worried about losing jobs. Or what am I going to do? Yeah, sometimes I think about, probably can have a voice over that says, hey, I need a code for this. And you probably can get it, maybe in the next 5 years. You don't need coders anymore. But did you hear what Elon Musk said about his plant? That he underestimated humans? Automation is not the answer. Did you hear this? So Jeff Weiner said that, the CEO of LinkedIn, that he heard Elon Musk say it, that he underestimated what human beings can do because his plants are not working to perfection. Over-credentialing is our favorite because we deal with this day in and day out with all the employers we're in. We work with many employers for 6 years. And so the way our model works, we have the students for 6 months. And the 6 months they do professional and technical skills, 7 hours a day equally. So three hours each. And if they do very well, they have to earn an internship for 6 months. And the 6 months is full-time with a big employer. And once they finish that, they have the opportunity to get a job. If there is a job available, if they do very well. And this one employer has been with us for 5 years and never hired an intern. Because all the jobs we were placing interns that they did really well required a degree. Like it's totally a self-inflicted wound. It's inside, it's HR, and they had it. And so when they did the calculation, they found out that they gave us $7 million over that period, and they had nothing to show for it. If you don't convert some of our students, it's not a good investment for you. It might look good because we're a social enterprise, but if you're a line manager, you could hire somebody with experience and get over that. And so they changed that line. So they created a labor category for our students. So if you do very good in your internship and they want to retain you, they created a labor category that fits their need and fits our need. Our need is students, we want them to have W-2s that grow over time. Because W-2s give you full benefits, give you access to tuition reimbursements. You're really part of the team. You're not part of the gig economy. Nothing against the gig economy. Just took lift to get here, but not for our students. And so when you look at the numbers, 6 million jobs are currently at risk for degree inflation. That was a study that was co-written by Harvard Business and Accenture last year. That is a scary number. And especially when the companies admit, 2/3 of them, that the 4-year degree is not needed, and it really excludes maybe amazing talent from the talent pool. Does this ring a bell for you guys? When you're recruiting, like sometimes you hire somebody and you like them, but they don't have whatever was written, and you go on to the next candidate. Like you know they can do the job. You almost feel like you have to really fight for somebody in the organization to make sure they accept them. Well, this happens all the time. If you're busy, we understand, but you're missing out in the long run. This is our favorite, and I have a video to show later. But it's interesting that somebody who was born and raised in a rough neighborhood is seen as a liability. If they get a high school degree in that neighborhood, do you have any idea what they have to do to get a high school degree? They have to show up, they have to do the exercise. Sometimes they don't have a computer, they have to figure out. Probably not stable living. They probably have to work. And we don't talk about any of that in an interview. Tell me about a situation when you dealt with a crazy manager. Let me tell you about a situation every day when I get out of my house. Every single day. And I'm here, I manage, and I'm smiling. What's interesting is the entire decision-making process is based on the past. Education. A lot of companies are doing this now. So you education, and you hire people, you develop them, continuous training, mentorship, attending conference, getting certification, promotion, stretch projects, you hear that all the time. You want that job? Do this. It's awesome, wonderful. How about if we institutionalize it? How about if everybody does that? Because everybody talks about this. I want a lifelong learner. I want somebody who really has the competencies to do the job. And then you have a wreck, and you have a week because you lost somebody, and you have tons of work. And what do? You revert back to old habits. Online allows everything to be individualized, as long as you provide the flexibility for people to learn. LinkedIn has a group called Economic Demographics. And what they do research based on, they have access to 630 million profiles. And what they found out, which was amazing to us because we've known this all along, but now it's globally, the biggest gap in skills isn't communication and interpersonal skills, but communication first. Humongous gap. And if you notice in a lot of recs, skills, interpersonal skills, good verbal and written communication, 2 lines. But that is one of the key indicators of success in any job. We don't invest enough in it. Well, of course we do. That's 50% of our time is spent on it. That's what we want the standard to be. And I want to share this with you and I want to talk about it.
I worked 12-hour shifts at the recycling company with my dad, who's 72. That taught me a work ethic that I carry with me every day.
When you're running your own business and taking care of your disabled brother, you tend to learn about responsibility pretty quickly.
I was living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
Growing up where I did, a lot of things could have gotten in the way of my goals. But I learned to push through, and that's what I bring to work every day.
My parents weren't fluent in English, so in school, I had to be independent and take initiative, and that's how I handle every project I get.
Did you notice a number there? What did the slide say? 7-second resume. Why 7-second resume?
That's how long people spend on it.
Right. Yeah, that's how much time recruiters spend on looking at resumes. Again, overwhelmed, trying to find the right people, you're looking for keywords in 7 seconds. In 2014, we had a relationship with the ad council and we started thinking about how do we do this right. And so we developed the 7-second resume videos for our students because it tells you really what they're made of. So there is a resume 1 page. I did this job, I was promoted, but then I have this. Like, this is what I'm bringing to you. This is who I really am. I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna get the work done. Adversity means a complete different thing for this population. Having a tough conversation with a manager might be tough, amazing, blood boiling. Death and life situation for some of our students. We have some students working on trading floors for energy and for stock exchange. And it's interesting because the manager's feedback came back. They're so calm. They're amazing under pressure. They're just getting into their job. Yes, because that is not a stressful job for them. Life is a whole lot more stressful. And it's very interesting how you can flip that from a liability to an asset. This is what I want you to remember. And now it's my privilege to close this presentation with one of our alumni who happens to be working here at Schoolcom. That is the only reason why I'm here. It's because of her. So to you, Brittney Ball.
Hello, everyone. So I graduated from Year Up in 2013. At that time, I was going through a really tough time in my life. I was a new single mom, living in shelter and trying to make a tough situation turn into something positive. So I did the 6 months of training at Year Up, was able to secure a 6-month internship for a nonprofit in DC. During that 6 months, I taught myself how to code, which was something that Year Up did not offer at that time. I was strictly an IT specialist, and I was able to show my supervisor that I had what it takes and I had the passion, and at the end of my 6-month training, I was awarded with a full-time position as a junior software engineer. Then got opportunities to work for companies like the Brookings Institute and Georgetown University as their webmaster, but because I did not have a degree, I was not able to attain a permanent position. That was a reoccurring theme for me in DC, so I decided to start over somewhere fresh. And I heard about Charlotte and how it had a growing tech scene, and so I came here. I did not have a job lined up, but using the skills that I learned at Year Up about networking and reaching out and being transparent with my situation, I found out on LinkedIn about a community here for tech called the Charlotte Devs. And I reached out and told them my situation and how I was looking to attain a permanent position. And I was then contacted by Josh Miller, who told me to come in for, asked if I would be interested in a contract position, which was then 6 weeks, which then turned into a 6-month internship, which in December turned into a full-time position here as a software engineer. And I'm very grateful for that. I love Skookum and the work we do here, and I'm really passionate about Year Up, and without Year Up, I would not have the life that I have now. So, it's an awesome program.